Abusiangana Mampeni, His Excellency Nana Danko Akufo Addo Abedo.
Now, dearly beloved, we make welcome the President of our Republic, Nana Akufo Addo. We rise. Dearly beloved, please sit. We welcome you warmly, the President of our Republic and the Chief Mourner, for this great celebration. And now, dearly beloved, we shall receive the clergy as they pay their respects, after which the head of family grandchildren, and siblings only to bid their final farewell. Just the aforementioned group. It's not for the whole family, please. Everywhere my faith is small, trusting Jesus, heart is small, trusting Jesus, heart is small. His name will shine into this small heart of mine, while He is my cornerstone, trusting Jesus, heart is small, trusting us the moment. This our prayer to you, the family, that you trust in Jesus in this difficult time. Which we are best suited for. May we be found ready, willing, and able. Jo Lartey is my name, and it is with all joy I serve you as the commentator for the pre-burial service. And now, over to you, Apostle Colonel Kumi.
Burial party falling. Band martial music.
GBC, where he would soon become a household name. As a sports and ceremonial commentator, his voice became the eyes and ears of the listening public, earning him the affectionate name "Over to You." His commentary was not just about reporting events, but about bringing them to life, painting vivid pictures with words, and connecting deeply with his audience. His journey with Toastmasters International began when he co-founded the first club in Ghana, the Accra Toastmasters Club. Through this, he played a pivotal role in shaping the art of public speaking in Ghana, mentoring countless individuals who, like him, sought to master the spoken word. His influence in Toastmasters is one that we all admire and respect. Beyond his contributions to broadcasting and public speaking, Jo Lartey had many talents and passions. He was deeply involved in road safety, trade union activities, and recovery efforts in drug and alcohol abuse, all of which underscored his commitment to the betterment of society. His influence extended far beyond the airwaves, touching lives profoundly and meaningfully. Despite the wisdom of his years, and though he carried the grace of age, Jo Lartey's passing on April 26, 2024, sent reverberating shockwaves through the Ghana Toastmasters community and marks the end of an era. Still, his legacy will continue to inspire generations to come, and we have not gone wrong sailing on this legend's star, for he has guided us with wisdom, grace, and the spirit of excellence that will never fade. The Ghana Toastmasters community promises to keep living his legacy, sharing his story, and lighting candles of positive change across the nation with the fire he has lit within each and every one of us. For those of us who knew him, we will continue to keep his memory alive, and will continue to touch lives the way he touched ours. May his soul rest in perfect, serene peace. Thank you.
The Sports Writers Association. A son and a mentee of our late father.
Good morning, everybody. Uncle Joe has brought all of us here, and we can only show gratitude for a life well lived. This is my tribute to him, a man who I first met many years ago on the set of the game show Who Wants to Be Rich. He came as a celebrity guest, and I was just charmed by his presence. I first met Mr. Jo Lartey in 2009 during the recording of a special edition of the Who Wants to Be Rich game show. From the moment I shook his hand, I was struck by his deep knowledge and infectious sense of humor. Over the years, our paths crossed many times at various events, whether in the realm of sports or public speaking. Each encounter left me more in awe of the man he was. Our bond truly blossomed when I began recording Joe's blog, Reflections of a 96-year-old Broadcaster. Spending time with him was like opening a treasure chest of memories. The clarity with which he recalled events from over 90, he was deeply attuned to current events, from the pulse of Ghanaian politics to the Hollywood actors' strike and the latest advancements in AI. His mind was as sharp as ever, and his thirst for knowledge was inspiring. What made Mr. Jo Lartey even more remarkable was his deep concern for the future of Ghana. He often spoke passionately about the country's direction, its leadership, and the challenges that lay ahead. His love for Ghana and his hopes for its future were evident in every conversation we had. But beyond his brilliance, Mr. Lartey was a warm and generous soul. Our conversations were filled with laughter, wisdom, and the occasional bottle of chilled beer that he would graciously offer. And he had a very interesting way of calling me. My name is Kafui, but he always called me Kafiu. And I never corrected him. That was the way he called me, and I took it. Those moments we shared, whether on weekends or after a long day, became a cherished part of my life. Losing Mr. Lartey feels like losing a piece of my own history. I'll miss his stories, his laughter, and the simple joy of his company. My heart aches with the loss of this extraordinary man who touched my life so deeply.
Thank you, Mr. Kafui. Reading on behalf of the siblings, we receive Adolf. in service as they come to pay their respects to our late father.
The Controller General of the Ghana Immigration Service, the Director General of the Ghana Police Service, heads of family, leadership of the church, friends from Toastmasters International, friends from the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, friends from the Sports Writers Association of Ghana, mentees of the legendary Jo Lartey, good people of Ghana, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. This morning, one more time, I'd have to go through the experience of not having the opportunity to say these words of celebration on a day when we probably were celebrating a milestone as big as a centenary. Man proposes, they say, and God disposes. And so as we all continued in that great relationship with the legendary Jo Lartey and wished that he would hit the milestone of a great centenary, the good Lord had other plans. This morning, as I stand before you, I'd like to share with you some words of celebration which I put together, which will later be published on myjoyonline.com today. So in the course of my journalism career, I've come across many people. And the gallant broadcaster, commentator, and teacher, Jo Lartey, also known as Over to You, formed one of the biggest impressions yet. He was a versatile brand which went beyond sports journalism. He contributed to the academia and operated within other spaces in the mass communication sector of our country. He was well-traveled and also found himself on different geographical spots of the world, which added to his vast knowledge, some of which he has transferred to some of us. Being the first president of the Sports Writers Association of Ghana, which also runs one of Ghana's oldest award schemes, it sure is a point of learning, a point of inspiration, and a point of celebration. Upon his demise, the usual words of celebration and the choruses have come, but once again, I would have preferred to do it right in front of him as he breathed. I'd like to share with us this morning some experiences from some personal conversations we had at his Latebi Okoshi and Gbawe residences here in Accra. The lesson of professionalism and thoroughness. Jo Lartey practiced active sports broadcasting during an era where the state broadcaster, the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, was a main media establishment for electronic media, specifically television and radio. This meant that there was no other source of media content electronic. So in the instance where there was a big game in the Ghana Premier League, you only got radio commentary from GBC Radio. And oh yes, the testimonies of the commentary that was given back in the time pleased every listener in the virtual venue because the commentaries delivered were great. One fine afternoon when I visited the legend at his then Latebi Okoshi residence, he took me down the valley of reminisce. He shared stories from his days as a professional and added some life experiences as well. According to him, he and his team will travel to the venue, example, 4 days to time, so they'll be able to pick some thoughts from the fans, They'll visit the training grounds of the respective clubs and other pieces of information which would become crucial to the eventual delivery of world-class commentary. Based on this approach, listeners were able to get very comprehensive commentary, that which was led and run by the legendary Jo Lartey. The lesson I learned from that was that in life, we need to strive hard to continue to churn out quality, and we need to always do the best to uphold our respective brands so we could draw the needed attention and the needed following. Interviewing a naked Muhammad Ali. One of the highest points of Jo Lartey's career was his interview with global sporting icon Muhammad Ali in May of 1964, when the global superstar paid a visit, a historic fortnight's visit to Ghana. Ali is considered the greatest boxing world champion of all time due to his impact in and out of the boxing ring. And according to my father, my mentor, Jo Lartey, he had to interview the global superstar at the then Ambassador Hotel, which we believe now is the Movenpick Ambassador Hotel. And one of the great highlights was the fact that Muhammad Ali was seated across from him without any clothes. He was eating ice cream and reciting poetry. The legendary Jo Lartey, with a usual smile on his face, recalled that Muhammad Ali complained of feeling a little too hot. He had so much to say that day Jo Lartey ran out of reels, which were the equipment used to record interviews back in the time. What lesson do we learn from here? That in everything we do, we still should remember that we're human. Rich, poor, tall, short, learned, unlettered, we are all human, no matter how high we climb the ladder. He also shared that lesson of an accident which he had about some 40 years ago. And according to him, during his last visit to the doctor who performed the surgery on him, on one of his legs, it was said to him that the pain could reoccur later in life. So during my last visit to him, he complained that once in a while he had pain in that leg. One of the few things that I also learned from that was that in life, as they say, we may end up fighting some battles later in life. Sad as that scenario may be, it just teaches us that some things just never go away, no matter how positive or no matter how negative. The final story, which I wish to share with us this morning, beloved in the Lord, is that of the quote from a very big fan in Kumasi, the Garden City. And I quote, "Is that Jo Lartey? Please give him 4 crates of Guinness for starters." Unquote. I repeat, "Is that Jo Lartey? Please give him 4 crates of Guinness for starters." So the legend shared this story about how he was getting ready for another big Ghana Premier League game involving Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Accra Hearts of Oak. He had arrived a few days ahead of time, and after a hard day's work decided to wind down with a few friends of his. Upon noticing the legend, one fan screamed out to the waiters to bring him 4 crates of Guinness, 96 bottles of cold Guinness. What he said to me after that experience was that if he had decided to get used to that lifestyle of especially being too used to alcohol, then he wouldn't have found space with his discipline. So the lesson learned there is that of discipline. Beloved in the Lord, there are so many words to be said this morning. There's so much in terms of rites to be performed this morning. But in everything, would like to say a very big thank you to God. I will wrap up with a quote from the legendary Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, former president of South Africa. He said, and I quote, "It once calls upon every generation to be great. You are that greatness, so let your greatness blossom. Unquote. It once calls upon every generation to be great. You are that greatness, so let that greatness blossom. By his life, by his deeds, and by his example, the legendary Jo Lartey sure has left his foot in the sands of time. At this point, all we can say to the rest of us in this generation is, over to you. May the good Lord bless us all.
The death of our beloved brother Joachim Ni Awule Lartey was a shock to us, even though we knew he was advanced in age. We are the last two children of our father, who died in the year 1970, when we were very young. Our senior brother Jo Lartey took us in to stay with him at his place at Switchback Road for a while before we went to stay with our mother. When Bernice got married, she left Accra to live with her husband in Tema. Her junior brother, Benjamin Lartey, followed her to Tema. During the rule of the former military head of state, General Ignatius Kutu Achampon, our brother Jo Lartey joined other compatriots who opposed the Unigov concept of governance. He was alerted by a confidant that his name was among a list of people to be arrested within 24 hours. He quickly rushed to his sister in Tema to elude the authorities, because not many people knew he had a sister in Tema then. He stayed there for a few days. He stayed there for a few days undercover. Then it became necessary for him to move to Nigeria. So, under cover of darkness, Bernice drove her brother from Tema to Accra, and there he boarded a bus to Tudu. At the Tudu lorry station to Aflao, and there he crossed the border into the Republic of Togo. Okay.
We welcome you warmly, Madam Chief of Staff, and now the tribute by the siblings.
With love and in unity, we cooperated in so many ways. We thank God to have given us this opportunity to have lived together with pleasure. We thank God for our life on this earth. On our life on this earth, you did your best. You performed wonderfully well. You did your best for Ghana, and it has been recognized. Over to you, Jo Lartey. Ofe heko oha Ghana. Yawo ojogba. Amen. Thank you.
And now, tributes from the family.
He has also gone to join the old man. And so he is not here to read his own tribute he wrote. So I'm reading it on his behalf. So let's hear Alhaji's tribute. The story is told of an English farm boy who, during the time of the Napoleonic, group of his soldiers were riding across the boy's property. The young boy bravely stood up and confronted the famous general and turned him back from riding through their farm. As the Duke and his men were riding away, they heard the little boy gallantly shouting to his father, and I quote, "Daddy! Daddy! I have done what Napoleon couldn't do. I turned back the great Duke of Wellington," unquote. The Duke stopped and said to his men, and I'm quoting that as well, "I can win more battles if all my soldiers have the spirit of this little boy," unquote. I find this little boy's view of his Napoleonic mentorship somehow parallel with my own about Joachim Lartey. He was my class teacher in the late 50s at the Alagboshi Presbyterian Middle School, but never had the opportunity to meet him after leaving school for over 61 years until in 2020, when I rediscovered him by chance in my neighborhood, where at 93 years of age, he was still teaching at a television media institution. It was a cheerful moment of reconnection for me with a fine old gentleman who I had admired, held in high esteem, and strived to emulate as a role model. I picked Uncle Joe into my car, first to my home and then to his humble flats at Latabia Koshim, and met his amazing and even older wife, Auntie Emily. Many are those who attribute Jo Lartey's great popularity, public appeal, and impeccable journalistic success to his professional talents, which is absolutely true. I found out that what constituted his real unseen power gift emanated from his honest and sincere fidelity to his Christian faith. His incredible humility and modesty bear testimony to his Christian values, and it is not surprising at all that despite his resounding public popularity and accolades as a living legend, Uncle Joe maintained his incredible principle of respect and love for all. And I asked all to join me in a celebrated, resounding, familiar, popular, domestic mantra in his memory: "Over to you, Jo Lartey." So this was from Alhaji Ali Yemo. And so I am still reading that of the family. And the family is saying this about Atajo. Jo Lartey, aka Over to You, was a great uncle, brother, cousin, and father to all of us. His trademark smile, full of joy, will always linger on. Where do we start to celebrate the life that he lived? We shared such wonderful experience together as one big family with the late Emmanuel Akushe Lartey, his late father, the late Mrs. Emma Lartey, his late mother, and the late Perfume Mr. F.W. Amatefew, his late favorite uncle, and all of the family members. We remember when he was very adventurous and a handful at home during those days. His favorite uncle, the late Mr. F.W. Amatefew, who was a disciplinarian and upon the instruction of his mother, caned him when he erred. He disappeared suddenly after that discipline was meted out to him. The next information we received was that he had joined the British Navy, where he served admirably. All our lives, we have felt specially loved by him. He put a smile on our faces and had the unique ability of giving us the confidence to believe we could achieve remarkable things. His calm and gentle demeanor was a blessing to this family. His morning walks and visits to us will never be forgotten. He was loving, lovable, disciplined, intelligent, and a perfect gentleman. We wish we had more time to continue to appreciate him. However, God in his infinite wisdom knows best. We are thankful to God for giving us such a wonderful man. You were simply a great man. Atajo, sleep well. Yawo Ojobang. May the Lord Almighty guide you into his bosom. May you rest in peace, Mr. Good Man. Yawo Ojobang. Atajo.
My name is Jamiles Ni Awuli Lartey. I am Jo Lartey's eldest grandson. Our grandfather was a man of many talents and titles. He was a sports radio announcer whose sharp style redefined the craft on Ghana's airwaves. He was an ace journalist who chronicled history with keen insight and a public speaker who could hold any audience's attention. But beyond his professional accolades, he was also a loving and proud grandfather who was eager to encourage and brag about his grandchildren. He announced his grandchildren's achievements, no matter how small, with the same fervor he brought to his most famous broadcasts. It was as if he was sharing news of the utmost importance whenever he spoke of us. Grandpa's curiosity about the world was boundless. Whether it was the latest political development or a new esoteric curiosity, he approached each topic with an open mind and a thirst for knowledge that never waned. He had a deep reverence for tradition, but like any good journalist, he was also wired to ask why and speak up if something didn't make sense. That curiosity extended into the real world too. To accompany him on one of his famous morning jaunts or a trip to the market was to witness community in action. He was, of course, known and loved by many, but what stood out was how deeply he knew others, how he took the time to engage with them, learn about their lives, and share in their joys and struggles. His stories were gripping, even the ones you might have heard before, maybe a few times. His laugh, that tenor chuckle from the belly, was infectious. Few people are as easy to sit and enjoy conversation with as he was. One of the greatest privileges I've ever had is to sit and share a beer with him. Grandpa had a saying that the difference between heaven and hell after a long day is a cold beer. The weight of his wisdom and the lightness of his humor was as refreshing as that bottle of club. Grandpa, we are crushed by your absence, but equally proud to carry your name, to be a part of your legacy, and to continue the values you instilled in us. We take comfort in knowing that you are at peace among the ancestors and that your spirit lives on in each of us. With that, I'll simply say, over to you. Thank you.
Menu makwekwe sa sempa kania semenam na meti asempa na mo amane a na ma no keka me anyambia what ANS Trading Agency Limited nka se wo ka se door to door for no de na e watwa esanse obie ne wa say wo ho sa door to door business nim wo nneoma wo UK a wo de ko Ghana ana se Germany a wo de ko Ghana 3 to 5 weeks e be kwa kodu nipa ne punu anu say try na de mo demonstration ko se adwuma de we mu ne se wo ho bo no e da form say boko ANS Trading Agency Limited ewo air freight special service and nneoma ne ye de be fa plane entintempa na akwa kodu obetima fa sa akwa we ya so de nneoma free Ghana akwa UK ana Germany FGG dem which na also agina ye na men drop bomb ANS Trading Agency Limited pe and a 40 footer any 20 footer container ye for UK ediko Ghana ana Germany ediko Ghana omo manuoma ye mere import o export o dem there for you omo Ghana na money 0249 170 423 UK has over free 0790 802 7527 Germany so 09173 771 2733 Ubenya ANS Trading Agency Limited our West Croydon ANS Trading Agency Limited Quantum Brantem wana bebo ya baso maybe next time in your fill up from the bebro
Vivian let's say the more kwababa abiexpress.com abiexpress.com the media yeah I got a phone near Benina, near Papua, near the other abiexpress.com. And then I walk in free Ghana, and Africa, and Papua, and Saturday. Can tell me now, open out the other down who are party as Siana. Maybe I will be abiexpress.com. Yeah, they are Papua near Manu, yeah, they blow abiexpress.com. Yeah, they are I mean, and then I watch a share who are Europe abroad today, and now America, Australia, no one. That's Asia now, dear. Maybe I will be in Slokra. Everyone is on abiexpress.com. Now, your warrior was Sabeka. abiexpress.com. Where they end your move, abiexpress.com. Where they papa. abiexpress.com. Yeah, the Ghana, and 12 hours.